The Starlit Promise. Chapter 1. The whispering night. It was a calm evening in the small village of Belden, nestled between towering mountains and verdant forests. As dusk settled, the sky became a canvas of deep blues and purples, with the first stars twinkling gently above. In a small cottage at the edge of the village, a young girl named Alara sat on the porch, her eyes wide with wonder. She had always been fascinated by the stars, how they shimmered so brightly, as if they were distant, ancient secrets, waiting to be discovered. Her grandmother Mira often told her stories about the stars. Each star, she said, is a promise made long ago by the first people who walked this earth. Promise to guide us, to remind us that no matter how dark the night may seem, there is always light. Alara loved these stories, and on this particular evening, something felt different. The stars were brighter, their glow almost inviting. She leaned forward, her breath catching in her throat as one star flickered, then seemed to shoot across the sky in a streak of silver light. "Did you see that, grandmother?" Alara asked breathlessly. Myra smiled softly, her eyes twinkling with the same wisdom that the stars seemed to hold. "That, my dear, was no ordinary shooting star. That was a promise one that is meant for you." Alara furrowed her brow. "A promise for me?" "Yes," Myra replied, her voice quiet but firm. "It is a promise from the stars themselves. Alara, a promise that you will one day find something of great importance, something that will change the world." Alara felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always felt there was something special about her, but she never could have imagined that the stars had a secret waiting just for her. Chapter 2. The call of the stars. Days turned into weeks, and Alara couldn't shake the feeling that the stars were watching her, guiding her in ways she couldn't understand. The village continued its peaceful existence, unaware of the great adventure that was about to unfold. One afternoon, as Alara wandered through the forest near the village, something caught her eye. A faint glow shimmered between the trees. Curiosity tugged at her, and she followed the glow deeper into the woods. The further she walked, the more intense the light became, until she found herself standing before a strange ancient tree, its trunk twisted and gnarled. At the base of the tree, a stone pedestal stood, engraved with intricate symbols that Alara had never seen before. On the pedestal lay a small, glowing crystal, its light pulsating in rhythm with her heartbeat. Before Alara could reach for the crystal, a voice echoed in her mind, soft and melodic. "Asterisk, the stars have chosen you. Take the crystal and the journey will begin." Asterisk. Heart pounding. Alara reached out, touched the crystal. As soon as her fingers made contact, a rush of warmth spread through her body, and a vision filled her mind, a vision of a sky ablaze with falling stars, a world on the brink of destruction, and a single person standing tall, holding the crystal high, its light shining bright. The vision faded as quickly as it had come, leaving Alara breathless and unsure of what it all meant. But one thing was clear: the stars had a plan for her, and she had no choice but to follow it. Chapter 3. The journey begins. ELARA. A village to the village, the crystal, now safely, tapped in her pocket. She tried to tell her grandmother about what had happened, but Mira only listened quietly, her face as serene as always. "It's time," Myra said softly, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding. "The stars have spoken. You must go, Alara. The world is calling for you." Double quotes, .ELA. Single quotes, heart raced as she prepared for the journey ahead. She didn't know what awaited her, but she knew she couldn't stay in the village any longer. The crystal had chosen her, and she couldn't ignore the call. With a final hug from Myra and a promise to return, Alara set off into the world, the crystal pulsing softly in her pocket. As she walked, she noticed the stars above her, brighter than ever before. It was as though they were cheering her on, guiding her towards something unknown, but undeniably important. Chapter 4. The guardians of the sky. Days turned into weeks as Alara travelled. Through forests, across rivers, and over mountains. Along the way she encountered strange and magical creatures, some of whom seemed to be aware of her quest. One evening, as she camped near a shimmering lake, a figure appeared at the edge of the water. The figure was tall, with silver hair that flowed like a river of moonlight and eyes that glowed like the stars themselves. Alara froze, unsure whether to speak or run. "You carry the crystal," the figure said in a voice like wind through the trees. "You are destined for something greater." "Who are you?" Alara asked, her voice trembling. "I am Arcturus," the figure replied. "One of the guardians of the sky. I have watched over the stars for centuries, and I have been waiting for you. Double quotes. Waiting for me." Alara echoed, still in disbelief. "Yes," Arcturus said, stepping closer. "The crystal you carry is one of the starstones. It holds the power to either save or destroy the world. You must protect it, Alara. There are those who would use it for darkness." Double quotes. ELA felt a chill run down her spine. Who would want to use it for darkness? With that, Arcturus vanished into the night, leaving Alara with more questions than answers. But one thing was certain. Her journey had just begun. Chapter 5. The Shadow King's rise. As Alara travelled deeper into unknown lands, she began to hear whispers of the Shadow King. Villages spoke of strange happenings, animals disappearing, crops withering, and an eerie darkness spreading across the land. Alara knew the time was drawing near. One evening, as she entered a forest, shrouded in fog, she came across a group of rebels, people who had been fighting against the Shadow King's growing influence. Their leader, a woman named Kellen, welcomed Alara with open arms. "We've been waiting for you," Kellen said. "You carry the Starstone, don't you?" Alara nodded. "How did you know?" "The stars have told us," Kellen explained. "You are the one who can stop him. The Shadow King is close. We need your help." But Alara was determined to stop him. With the crystal in her hand, she felt its power growing stronger, and she knew she wasn't alone. The stars were with her. Chapter 6. The final battle. The day came when Alara and her newfound allies confronted the Shadow King. His fortress stood at the heart of a darkened wasteland where the sky above was choked with storm clouds, and the ground was cracked and barren. As they approached the fortress, Alara felt a surge of power from the crystal. The stars were shining brightly, even through the darkness, and she knew that this was her moment. She was the one the stars had chosen to fight for the light. In the heart of the fortress, the shadow king awaited. He was a tall, imposing figure, cloaked in shadow, with eyes that burned like embers. "You think you can stop me?" he sneered. "The stars are nothing. I will plunge this world into darkness, and all will bow to me." In the final moments of the battle, the crystal's light shattered the shadow king's power, and the darkness that had spread across the world began to recede. The stars returned to the sky, brighter than ever before. Chapter 7. The Starlit Promise. The world had been saved, and the stars once again watched over it, shining down with a promise of hope and light. Alara had fulfilled the prophecy, and she had kept the promise made long ago by the stars. And as Alara stood on the porch of her grandmother's cottage, looking up at the night sky, she knew that the stars had kept their promise, and now it was her turn to keep hers. The end.